And it's suing him for $100 million because of Shedeur Sanders falling to the 5th round of NFL draft.
Since Shedeur Sanders got drafted into the NFL, it's been nothing but legal drama.
Shedeur Sanders has a prime equity clause. The prime equity clause gives Sanders a percentage of all revenue generated from merchandise, sponsorships, and promotion tied to his name, image, and likeness.
And now he just lit the league on fire with his boldest move yet. Reports claim Sanders signed a $250 million deal outside the NFL, and the owners are furious. Here's the kicker. His rookie contract with the Cleveland Browns, signed May 19, 2025, looked totally standard on the surface. 5th round pick, 144th overall, a 4-year deal worth $4.65 million. But buried in the fine print was something the NFL has never seen before. It's called the Prime Equity Clause, and it changes everything.
It says this is already paid off. Shadur's rookie jersey has reportedly hit $250 million in sales, earning him $14 million in commission, which far exceeds most rookie earnings.
This deal gives Sanders a percentage of all revenue tied to his name, image, and likeness. Merch, sponsorships, promos, you name it. Instead of just being another player, Sanders basically became a business partner with the Browns. Insiders say the cut is around 5 to 6%, which is massive. For context, Caleb Williams, drafted 1st overall, signed a $39.4 million contract with a $25.5 million signing bonus. Meanwhile, Sanders' base deal looks tiny by comparison. $447,000 guaranteed, starting salary of $840,000 in 2025, slowly climbing to $1.2 million in 2028. Under normal rules, the Browns could have cut him after a year with almost no penalty. But here's the wild part. Thanks to this clause, Sanders flipped the system upside down.
But Bucky is able to be behind the scenes that way because it's in Shedur's contract that he controls his own media. Why? Why would Shadur want to control his own media? Because then I can paint my own narrative, and then I can let you guys hear my.
He's already pulling in insane numbers, with his rookie jersey sales alone reportedly hitting $250 million. The NFL's entire pay structure just got challenged by a 5th round pick, and owners are scrambling to figure out how to shut it down, earning Sanders a jaw-dropping $14 million in commission, more than his entire 4-year base deal and even more than most veteran QBs in their first season. The genius here? It doesn't break salary cap rules. It's structured as a revenue-sharing agreement, treated as business income instead of salary. That clever twist keeps it legal under the current NFL labor deal. The Browns hand Sanders 5 to 6% of all NIL revenue tied to him: jerseys, merch, slogans, sponsorships, even digital content. Basically, he turned himself into a walking profit center. For the Browns, it's risky but genius. His name alone drives sales a typical 5th rounder could never pull off. But Sanders didn't just cash in. He also secured total control of his media empire. Every platform, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, it's all his. Usually, NFL teams restrict what players post, but Sanders flipped the script, keeping full editorial control while still cutting the Browns in on the profits.
But in business, people understand how valuable your own platform is, especially because it builds and it grows over time. And in this situation, right? Him retaining full ownership of all his personal media content, that means he can post NFL.
And then came the wildest twist. He got approval for his half-brother, D. Sanders Jr., to embed his own media crew inside the NFL machine. That means exclusive behind-the-scenes content that normally gets blocked by league copyright. Even NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell had to personally approve this setup, a move that shows just how groundbreaking these negotiations were. Sanders didn't just get paid. He rewrote the playbook on player power, branding, and control, leaving the entire NFL shook. Sanders' contract even flips the tax game. Since his equity cash counts as business income, he can write off expenses like a company while still paying self-employment tax. Complicated? Yes. But it opens the door for way bigger long-term gains than a basic NFL salary ever could. And that's just the start. His endorsements are massive. Nike alone is worth $5 to $10 million a year, with beats by Dre, Gatorade, Mercedes-Benz, and Urban Outfitters stacked on top. These deals flowed right from his $6.5 million college NIL value into the pros without missing a beat.
This is why they hate Shedeur Sanders. This is what it's about, man. It's that the things that he's coming in negotiating have never been done before. They always want it, and they like it for players to stay in a position of service.
Put it all together. His base contract, the equity clause, plus endorsements, and Sanders is looking at a shocking $18 to $37 million in his first year. That makes a fifth-rounder the highest-paid rookie in NFL history. This isn't about draft rank anymore. It's about brand power. Sanders proved a player's social media clout and cultural influence can matter more than where they got picked. Michael Jordan's Nike royalties and Cristiano Ronaldo's image rights showed the blueprint, but Sanders dragged it straight into the NFL spotlight. Here's the kicker. Sliding from a projected top 10 pick to 144th overall cost him around $44 million in traditional salary.
And it's suing him for $100 million because of Shedeur Sanders falling to the fifth round of NFL draft, claiming emotional distress, trauma, and other things.
But through this wild contract and branding, he might end up making more than Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels combined in year one. This deal set a precedent the NFL has never seen before. A rookie landing equity and team revenue tied to his own brand. Sanders didn't just get paid. He created a blueprint that every athlete is now eyeing, breaking the wall between college NIL money and pro contracts. And the mastermind behind it? His father, Deion Sanders, steering the negotiations that just rewrote sports business history. But let's be real. This game-changing deal only happened because of a shocking twist. Sanders' dramatic fall in the draft. Projected as a top 10 pick, maybe even number 1 to Miami or number 2 to Vegas. Sanders had the stats to back it up. 72.3% completion rate, over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, and a 169.1 passer rating in his final year at Colorado.
He would only have something if he could prove collusion.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But not liking him isn't collusion.
Well,
that's not collusion. You have your right to not draft somebody because you don't like them.
He looked like a lock, yet somehow 143 names got called before his. Fans and insiders immediately cried foul. Rumors of collusion spread fast, with claims that N.F.L execs coordinated to tank his stock. The result? A fifth-round pick, a measly $4.65 million deal, and a $44 million loss in traditional contract value compared to what he should have earned as a top pick. His slide was one of the most dramatic in modern draft history, on par with Brady Quinn in 2007 or Geno Smith in 2013.
Because he's cocky, arrogant, then they're going to try and play it. They're going to OJ glove it, and it's going to turn into some whole different issue. Because a black, confident, arrogant kid that's not liked for no other reason but just because I don't like.
But unlike them, Sanders came in with superstar expectations, which makes the fall and the fallout so much louder. So what really caused Sanders' shocking draft crash? Some point to legit football concerns, while others whisper about something way bigger: coordinated sabotage. On the field, scouts flagged his deep ball accuracy, his habit of holding the ball too long, 52 sacks in 2023, and doubts about whether he could handle the jump from Colorado's simple spread offense to NFL-level schemes. Some even wrote him off as a system quarterback. At the 2025 Combine, things didn't help. He measured solid, 6 feet 2 inches, 215 pounds, 4.78 in the 40. But it was the interviews that raised eyebrows. Multiple teams thought he came off too cocky, even arrogant, and GMs didn't like his demands for franchise-level control, like choosing coaches and schemes.
I think it would be hard to prove that part of it. It does. It is interesting, though, when you talk about Shadur, that when you look at the league's website, and you're not on social, but this stuff, when he got drafted, it was pinned on NFL.
That had execs questioning his coachability. Then came the family drama. Deion Sanders openly claimed his son wouldn't play for certain teams, especially in cold weather cities. That rubbed franchises the wrong way, and legends like Kurt Warner and Chris Carter slammed the family for being a distraction. Suddenly, drafting Shadur looked like signing up for endless media chaos. But the loudest controversy? Allegations that NFL teams colluded to tank his draft stock on purpose. High-profile voices in the football world have pushed this claim hard, raising questions not just about draft politics, but about deeper league governance issues, and maybe even discrimination. NFL legend Eric Dickerson dropped a bombshell, claiming on the Robin and Rodney show that a very good source told him the league straight up ordered teams not to draft Sanders. According to Dickerson, the NFL wanted to make an example of him for treating the draft process like a business deal instead of a job interview. He even alleged that the Browns were told to stay away until someone quietly gave them the green light.
Hey, big guy. What's going on? Hey, look. You doing all right? You gotta let my brother have his way in the league. Yeah, you gotta. I'm worried about your pop. What you worried about him?
Former MVP boomer Esiason backed it up, saying multiple owners flat out instructed teams to pass. Then, ESPN's Stephen A. Smith cranked the drama even higher, comparing it to Kaepernick-level collusion and pointing at resentment toward Deion Sanders himself. Smith claimed there were actual text messages and private chats between owners coordinating against Shedeur. It got so heated that a Colorado fan filed a $100 million lawsuit against the NFL in May 2025, accusing the league of antitrust violations, racial discrimination, and collusion. The suit even demanded access to a secret 61-page arbitration report on bias against black quarterbacks.
You run fast, you jump high, you say yes sir, no sir, and we'll tell you what you're allowed to have. You don't believe that? Go look at Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. Right now, the negotiation that's going back and forth between them.
Experts say it'll probably get tossed, but the fact it exists shows just how explosive these allegations are. And while all this swirled, critics pointed to Sanders' own pre-draft demands as ammo for teams to justify passing. He wanted guaranteed playing time, offensive schemes built for him, influence over personnel, and most controversial of all, that prime equity clause. Teams feared if they gave him what he wanted, every future rookie would demand the same. Some teams saw Sanders' demands as pure overreach, like a college kid acting like a number. One pick before proving a thing in the N.F.L. That alone scared off front offices that might have otherwise taken a shot on his talent. But here's where it gets messy. This isn't the first time whispers of collusion have rocked the league. In 2017, Colin Kaepernick accused owners of blackballing him, and the NFL eventually settled after proof of coordination surfaced. More recently, Lamar Jackson's 2023 free agency had people asking the same questions, as teams balked at giving him a fully guaranteed deal before Baltimore finally caved. For Sanders, the racial element makes the story even heavier. Critics say black quarterbacks have historically been undervalued or nitpicked more than their white counterparts. Sanders' bold confidence, mixed with Deion's outspoken media presence, may have triggered biases that cut deeper than football. Still, not everyone's buying the collusion theory.
No mistakes about it. Yes, Shedeur Sanders was a fifth-round pick, but he ain't never been a fifth-round talent. That's why in his mind, he is saying, I can change a franchise if you give me the opportunity to.
Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated flat out rejected it, pointing to more basic reasons for the slide: bad interviews, family drama, and Sanders' sack-heavy play style that raised real concerns about how he'd transition to the NFL. Breer insists teams had real football reasons to pass on Sanders. No conspiracy needed. But the truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. His mix of talent, swagger, family drama, and those never-before-seen contract demands created a storm that made a lot of franchises nervous. And here's the twist. The very things that tanked his draft stock might have been his biggest blessing. By sliding to the 5th round, Sanders landed with the one team willing to cut the wildest deal in NFL history. Now, he's set up to make more in his rookie year than most top 10 picks, proving sometimes a setback is just a setup for something bigger. But his arrival in Cleveland didn't just kick off a career. It lit a fire under the entire NFL. Sanders' deal forced the league to confront a new era of player empowerment, where athletes aren't just workers, they're partners, brands, and business moguls. The pushback from the establishment was instant, with whispers of fear spreading across owner circles. And the biggest tell? Commissioner Roger Goodell himself.
So when people say, hey, they're setting him up for failure, this is what they're talking about. I believe the Browns have good intentions for all the quarterbacks in their room.
In a viral clip with Deion Sanders, Goodell dropped a comment that seemed casual on the surface, but insiders say it exposed the league's real anxiety, that Shedeur's contract wasn't just about one rookie, it was about rewriting the rules of power in professional sports. That offhand Goodell exchange said it all. The NFL isn't worried about Sanders throwing touchdowns. They're worried about Deion Sanders blowing up the system. With his insider knowledge and sharp business game, Deion is exposing cracks in the league's old-school contract model, and owners don't like it one bit. Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam's reaction shows the tension perfectly. Even though his team courted Sanders before the draft, word is Haslam quickly distanced himself once backlash hit. Some insiders even claim he's eyeing Arch Manning as a future quarterback option, despite already having Sanders signed. That screams conflict inside the Browns' own house. But the pushback goes way bigger than Cleveland. Across the league, owners are terrified of the domino effect. If one rookie can snag a deal like this, what happens when the next top pick, or worse, a superstar veteran, demands the same cut of revenue? Anonymous execs have admitted flat out they hate the clause, calling it a threat to cost control and team authority. And it's not just about money. Sanders' contract also cracks open media control, something NFL teams have guarded fiercely for decades. If players can own their platforms and narratives, it shifts power from the league to the athletes. That's the real nightmare for owners, losing the ability to control the story. Sanders holding on to his personal media rights was a straight-up slap to the NFL's control system. Normally, the league dictates how players present themselves, but Sanders forced Goodell himself to sign off on Deion Jr. running the media operation. That one approval alone sent owners into panic mode, because if Sanders can do it, others will try next. And it's paying off big.
That's what Shadur said. Now, when you couple that, see, back then we didn't understand what he was asking for in his contract. When you couple that information that I just gave you guys, right?
When preseason struggles or locker room whispers hit, Sanders' personal media team spins the story his way, protecting his brand instead of letting the NFL twist the narrative. That's power most players never get. Behind the scenes, the legal impact is just as explosive. The NFLPA isn't against it, they're studying it. If equity clauses spread, players everywhere could demand the same perks, blowing up decades of contract tradition. Agents across the league are already dissecting Sanders' deal, ready to copy and paste the formula for their own stars. Owners see it as the start of a revolution in player pay. Then came the preseason drama. His debut against the Panthers was fire. 14 of 23 passes, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. To his backers, that was proof the Browns were right, and his fall in the draft was shady. To his critics, it just fueled the fear. If he balls out and keeps this contract model alive, the NFL will never be the same again. Sanders' final preseason game against the Rams gave critics all the ammo they needed. 5 sacks, just 10 of 18 passes for 95 yards, and a pick. Doubters said this proved the draft scouts right. Shaky pocket presence and poor decision-making under pressure. But then Robert Griffin III jumped in, blasting the Browns for setting him up to fail by not giving him enough support. Suddenly, conspiracy theories swirled. Was Cleveland sabotaging their own rookie to cool down the hype? Coaches were forced to deny it, but the damage was done. The narrative around Sanders only got louder. Meanwhile, his influence wasn't just domestic, it went global. With 5.7 million Instagram followers, 15% international, and Nike pushing him overseas, Sanders became an international brand before playing a regular season snap. His jerseys sold big in the UK, Germany, and Brazil, proving his appeal reached markets the NFL has been desperate to crack. That's why his contract is scarier to owners than his arm strength. Sanders isn't just a quarterback. He's a worldwide profit machine the league can't fully control. Analysts already predict his deal will dominate 2026 CBA talks, with debates over NIL revenue caps and whether equity clauses should become standard. And other sports are watching closely. Basketball, baseball, even soccer leagues know if Sanders pulls this off, their stars will demand the same. His struggles on the field may fade, but the off-field revolution he sparked is only growing. At the end of the day, Sanders' deal isn't just about one player, it's a turning point. By locking in revenue sharing tied to his brand, he proved athletes don't have to settle for old-school contracts. He created a playbook other stars can copy, one that could flip the entire power balance between players and owners. This is bigger than football. If the NFL embraces it, the league could grow in ways it never imagined. But if they fight it, we're looking at a full-blown battle between tradition and evolution, one that could shape pro sports for decades. And trust me, every athlete in every league is watching to see how it plays out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the comments to let me know if you think Sanders just changed the game forever.